Hey guys, welcome to the show. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. It is cold as hell in New York City. Talking deep freeze. I think it's a deep freeze pretty much everything over the Mason-Dixon line. So I hope you guys are staying warm. Please, before I get started, like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. We've got so much news to get through, and I want to do one of these little compilations for you. So without any further ado, let's just get into it. Okay, so the big bombshell that dropped over the weekend was the 3.5 million document dump of the Epstein files. And there are a handful of juicy ones in there. I'm sure by Monday there will be more juicy ones that have already been uncovered. But for what we have right now, I'll just go through the couple ones that I have. It's not looking good for Elon Musk. Remember back when Elon said that Donald Trump was in the Epstein files, and I kind of joked about it, saying that, well, yeah, man, because you were at an Epstein private party, you're probably in those goddamn files too. Well, it turns out that he is. Oh, I never pursued Epstein, but turns out, yeah, man, you certainly did. We've got like 3 emails from him, one of which he sent to Epstein on Christmas morning at 6 a.m. I mean, you are so pathetic, man. I mean, my God, he is the saddest boy. In the email, he says, I got to wait for my kids to leave, but I'm really looking forward to getting back into the party scene, is what he said. Jesus Christ, man. As soon as I can get rid of my kids, I want to get back into the party scene and I want to come out to the island. And Epstein's like, yeah, man, come on down. We got a space for you. We always got a spot for you. He said, I've been working really hard, but I'm not really looking for rest and relaxation. I just want to get into it. Party, baby, party. Oh my God. They're also apparently they are still redacting and hiding the names of the perpetrators, but they are doxing the victims. I mean, is just incompetency, or are you guys just doing this shit on purpose? Another one of the emails is an accusation from at the time, a underage girl accusing Donald Trump of sexual assaulting of her. And there was an Epstein email regarding that, trying to work out strategies. And this is in 2016, so it's right during the time that they're running up to the election. Bill Gates apparently got some STDs from some young Russian girls. Not looking good for Bill Gates. Howard Nutlick. Oh my God. I saw an interview with him recently where he was like, me and my wife, we went over to Epstein's house. You know, he used to live next door to me, and we walked in the front room and we saw one of these massage tables out, and I looked at my wife and she looked at me, and we're both like, we need to get out of here. So we left. But apparently that was absolute horseshit, because they have got emails not just from Howard Nutlick. I know his name is Lutnick, but I'm going to call him Nutlick anyway, and his wife. They were both pursuing Epstein for private parties on the Epstein child molester island. Fantastic stuff. Also, Trump's new Fed chair pick, the one to replace Jerome Powell, he's also in the Epstein files. You know, pedophilia loves company, apparently. And there was also this other one. This is just an accusation, and it was listed under the title complaint. And it is of a young girl at the time who was 13 years old. She apparently was forced to give Donald Trump head, and she accidentally bit him, and then she laughed about it, and then Trump punched her in the face. So it's kind of similar to the whole Katie Johnson episode. But, you know, I don't know if this person is the same person or not, or this is just Donald Trump's MO. But it does match up on the timelines. So, yet again, Trump wouldn't have anything to do with that. It's a Democratic hoax. It's all the Democrats and Bill Clinton. Oh, Jesus Christ, man. It is a hot mess, y'all. Hot mess. Okay, so it's starting to look like the Democrats are going to cave on the funding for DHS and ICE. Chris Murphy came out with a list of like 5 things that he wanted to do, which honestly is not enough. Those 5 things are not enough. And then in Democratic fashion, Chuck Schumer whittles that down to 3 in pre-negotiation. Are these guys trying to lose? I swear to God, I've called them the Washington Generals before. They're like the paid opposition. I swear to God, I think that these guys are paid to lose. They are paid to tell the American public that, oh, golly gee, we just couldn't get it done. Look, we tried really hard. But Donald Trump, he's a hell of a negotiator. You know, we did what we could, but all we could get was these three things. Actually, once we got into the negotiation, we only got one of the things. And it turns out that one of the things that we got is the exact thing that the Republicans wanted. One of them is no more roving gangs of ICE and body cameras and wearing IDs. Whatever, that's actually something that they want. So ICE thugs don't have to walk around with their cell phones filming while they do their murders in the street. Thank you, Jonathan Ross. And the third one was no masks. Okay, there's one. Good. You got no masks. Congratulations. But they haven't even gotten that yet because it's still a negotiating process. I believe that today is the last day. I mean, I'm seeing pictures of Chuck Schumer hanging out with fucking Mike Johnson, for God's sakes, man. This is what I mean. It's paid opposition. But according to both of those guys, it looks like it's only going to be a temporary government shutdown for a couple of days until they can renegotiate in a week or two, whatever. It's just all absolutely crap. And the public was polled about this, and it's been polled several times about how they feel about ICE. And I believe it's a plurality of voters want ICE completely abolished, just gotten rid of. 46% of the country wants ICE completely gone. And that is AOC's position. And a couple of weeks ago, the polling was behind the AOC's policy. And then they hired a whole bunch of consultants, as the Democrats are wont to do, headed up by this guy named Adam Gentleson. He is basically John Fetterman's caretaker because John Fetterman has lost his fucking mind, has a stroke and turns Republican. He runs this company called Searchlight. It's a centrist lobbying group, and they have contracts with DHS and ICE. So of course they don't want to abolish ICE. So what was the plurality of getting rid of ICE is now the bad position. And the good position is let's reform ICE. Yes, let's just have a more well-trained and more well-funded Gestapo. I think that that'll be wonderful. Another one of the big stories that's happened this weekend is Don Lemon getting arrested. Now, if you guys don't know the backstory of this, Don Lemon followed a protest that went to this church in Minnesota. It is a Southern Baptist church. And if you don't know the difference between First Baptist and Southern Baptist, you should look it up. Basically, Southern Baptists, they formed themselves around the time of the Civil War because they wanted to keep slavery. Just putting that out there. Anyway, the main pastor of this church, turns out that he's like some supervisor for ICE. So this protest went to that church, and Don Lemon followed them along with a couple of other reporters, and all of them got arrested. One of the women was named Georgia Ford. She was arrested at her home. She posted a video while they're banging on her door outside, and she looks scared as hell. You can hear the kids crying in the background. They're coming to take mommy away. Anyway, I believe Don Lemon had just walked out of the Grammys. He was reporting on the Grammys, and they arrested him in LA after the event. Just took his ass into custody. I'm not sure if you guys saw the footage of the protest, but it wasn't a violent protest. And don't give me any shit about, oh my God, you can't have protest in church. Honey, Jesus Christ turned over the tables of the moneylenders in church. Jesus was the OG church protester. So don't give me any of this happy horse shit. And besides, if you actually follow the Bible, it says to take in the sojourner and be kind to your neighbor, which is something that none of you guys ever seem to want to do. And the main pastor of this church, his name is Easterman. He is the ICE supervisor. And oh, by the way, just a side note, all of these arrests, including the one of Don Lemon, a gay black reporter, was on MLK Day. They arrested these people on Martin Luther King Day. Oh my God. The head of the protest, this woman named Nikina Levy Armstrong, was taken into custody. Actually, she was told to turn herself in, and she was going to turn herself in. And then the Justice Department, thank you, Pam Bondi, said that no, we need to arrest her in her home so we can get a propaganda video of it. And they marched her out, with the handcuffs behind her back. And in the video, you can see that she is undeterred, and she knew she was going to get arrested for this. I mean, as most activists and protesters do. And by the way, that woman, she's also a Christian pastor. And that's why she was protesting this place, because this Southern Baptist Church in Minnesota is not acting very Christ-like. When they arrested her, they marched her out on camera, but that wasn't enough propaganda for Donald Trump and the DOJ, and they did an AI photo edit on her where they made her look like she was bawling her eyes out. It's fucking pathetic, man. Hey, First Amendment protectors, where the fuck are you? Ben Shapiro, you got anything to say about this? And also, before the arrest, this case was put in front of 2 magistrate judges, and they both turned it down, saying, we're not going to arrest Don Lemon for this. This is First Amendment protected freedom of the press. And also, I believe it was a couple of prosecutors in LA and Minnesota, and both of them said that they weren't going to do it either due to the First Amendment, the Constitution. Moving on to more censorship and more First Amendment violations. Twitch banned Hassan Piker for 7 days for commenting on ICE tracking Preddy, the man that was gunned down, and he was comparing them with the IDF. Both of them make lists on ICE protesters and the pro-Palestine protesters. It's generally the same people who are doing this, and they're both making lists of these protesters. And, we keep hearing about Palantir and all the data collection and all of the biometrics that they're doing to collect data on all these people. NSPM 7, it's coming to fruition, guys. But anyway, the quote from Hassan Piker, the one that got him banned for 7 days, he said, "Suck my dick, you rabid ultra-Zionist pigs." Apparently, you can't use the word Zionist as a pejorative anymore. You can say you're a proud Zionist, but you can't say it as an insult. Guys, there is a difference between being anti-Semitic and being anti-Zionist. Zionism is an ethnic distinction. We are the whites, the Palestinians are the blacks. We are superior. Hassan is not wrong about the whole IDF comparison to our own ICE goons. It's the same shit, man. We're hiring a whole bunch of white supremacists to be in Customs and Border Patrol and ICE. It's just another white supremacist, white nationalist movement. And let's not forget that Larry and David Ellison, along with the United Arab Emirates, have recently purchased, the purchase finally went through, of TikTok, and they did a huge ban on any negative comments about Trump, about Zionism, and about ICE. So a lot of people are leaving that platform and going to other platforms because they now realize that speech has been curtailed on TikTok. Jesus Christ, man. Hey, if you guys know the CEO of Twitch, or you want to tweet out to him, his name is Dan Clancy. Go give him a piece of your mind, because that guy is a piece of shit. Trump smears Alex Preddy in a bleat on Truth Social. The agitator and perhaps insurrectionist Alex Preddy screaming and spitting at a very calm ICE agent, then kicks a very expensive ICE vehicle so much that he broke the taillight. These guys are always going to try to find a post hoc reason to blame the dead victim. They want to build a mass file on everybody that they don't like, that does not fit into the Christian conservative nationalist movement. If you do not fit into that neat, tidy little box, then you are going into this big ass database, and they want to be able to have one big ass file on you. So if you ever do anything that is arrest worthy, then they will snatch you up and then they will go through the files and find something that they don't like about you and put it on the news and say, look, this person had 27 parking tickets, or this person has a DUI charge. They deserve to die, or they deserve to get locked up. This is the fascism that we're talking about. Speaking of ICE, some ICE goons broke the back window out of a car to get a suspect. They grabbed him. They left the car with the door open and the car running. And then somebody came up to the car, looked inside, and they see all the broken glass in the back, and they see a baby carrier in there and with a blanket over top. And they pull the blanket back, and there is a 1-month-old child covered in broken window glass in a cold ass car, crying its little eyes out. These guys are fucking goons, man. ICE has been releasing half-naked detainees in the woods outside of the Whipple building. And they've been showing up at hospitals with head injuries and hypothermia, and some of them in need of amputation because of severe hypothermia. You got to remember, out there is like 20 to 40 below. It is the dead of winter. Instead of releasing them back where they found them or taking them home, they are releasing them in the middle of the woods with nothing but the shirt on their back. And they're like, good luck, motherfucker. The hospital's 10 miles that way. Peace. Nuremberg trials could not come fast enough, guys. Also, ICE has been tear gassing outside of preschools. And I read a report where some teachers chased ICE goons out of a school with baseball bats. I mean, they are giving Don Lemon and those protesters a hard time from going into a church and protesting. Meanwhile, ICE is invading schools and churches, but nobody's got anything to say about that. Staying on ICE, apparently they have violated 96 court orders to appear in front of judges this month alone. A George W. Bush judge said that this is more than any federal agency has ever done in their entire existence. They did it in 1 month. ICE has stopped paying bills for medical aid and medicine for their detainees. So they are not giving anybody any medical treatment, whether they need it from the injuries that they sustained from getting snatched out of a car by ICE, or whether they are actually infirmed and need medication. They don't give a flying fuck. They just throw you in a little concentration camp. A 16-year-old boy went to the Whipple building with some heart medication for his 58-year-old father that ICE snatched up the day before. And the ICE officers laughed at him. Like, what do you want me to do with this? I'm just going to flush this shit down the toilet. They probably don't even know the guy's name, man. They do not care. All they want is a body count. Stephen Miller wants 3,000 bodies a day. That guy, that 58-year-old father, he is just another body. There is a towing moratorium in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, because ICE is snatching so many people out of cars and leaving their cars running on the side of the road. So tow trucks are too busy to tow your car because they're too busy on the side of the road picking up cars left abandoned by ICE and their fucking thuggery. Restaurants are closing, businesses are closing. There have been military checkpoints surrounding the area where Alex Preddy was killed, and they're making you prove your identity so you can get in the neighborhood if you live there. I mean, military checkpoints on American streets. We keep calling the Gestapo, man. Stop calling us this Gestapo. It's not fair. You're not being nice to me. For God's sakes, man, there are reports of women giving birth at home because they might come in contact with ICE. If you had to give birth in the back of a fucking paddy wagon, I think I'd rather stay home and give birth on a couch myself. And to top it all off, you got Mayor Frey and Tim Walz. They are weak sauce little bitches, man. They're not doing anything. They need to start ordering the arrest of these guys. Oh, well, we can't do that because then Donald Trump is going to declare the Insurrection Act. Honey, I hate to break it to you, man. He is going to do that anyway. Whether you abide by his rules or not, he is going to invoke the Insurrection Act. Mark my fucking words. Goddamn, man, these weak sauce motherfuckers hedging their bets. You're afraid if you arrest these guys, you're going to start a civil war? We are there, man. We are literally in a fucking civil war. Donald Trump is importing ICE goons from all over the country to go into blue cities and blue states to do their fuckery. Snap out of it, man. You cannot appease a fascist. Appeasement does not work. Switching gears, Trump sues his own IRS for $10 billion. I mean, he is channeling his inner Dr. Evil. $10 billion. That's always the starting point for every one of his fucking lawsuits. It's always fucking $10 billion. He's so ridiculous. He is suing because of the publication of his tax returns. By the way, isn't the president supposed to release his tax returns? Oh my God, we're 8 years too late for that argument. But just imagine that. The president of the United States suing his own IRS. The graft is unbelievable. Y'all screaming and yelling about waste, fraud, and abuse going on in Minnesota. My God, Washington, D.C. is just awash in this shit. For God's sake. I mean, he sued media companies, always starting off with $10 billion. I'm suing CNN for $10 billion. I'm suing the Pope for $10 billion. I'm suing God for $10 billion because I'm fucking aggrieved. Here's the crazy thing, though. The IRS will probably settle. You know, they'll give him like, I don't know, $10, $20 million in a settlement just to shut him up. Yet again, you cannot appease a fascist, man. He will keep doing this shit because he knows that he will get paid for it. Trump dropped another banger on Truth Social where he says, Department of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard released a bombshell Russiagate documents proving Barack Hussein Obama personally ordered the CIA to manufacture false intelligence on me. He is working with the enemy to undermine America's confidence in our democracy. Dude, the only person that is undermining confidence in our democracy is you and the shit you and Tulsi Gabbard are fucking doing, man. This was a coup attempt. It's not revenge. It's accountability. Something that the Democrats said when they were doing that congressional questioning over your January 6th antics. Make America great again. Arrest Obama now. Barack Obama, maybe take a little vacation to the south of France for a little while. There is no telling where this senile old Fox News grandpa will do. He is lunatic enough to do it. This is the year. This is the year. He knows he's going to lose the upcoming midterms. So he is going to do all of the fuckery. And if you think that they would not frog march Barack Obama in handcuffs and ankle chains, you better think again. He would absolutely do that shit. The dude is lost in the sauce. Here's a story I missed over the last couple of weeks. I just wanted to talk about it. Doge, as you know, destroyed NOAA, the National Weather Service, the Consumer Financial Protection Board, fired 250,000 government agents, cut the phones for Social Security, he cut the offices in half. Doge ended up costing us more money than he supposedly saved. And he collected all of this Social Security data, which is going to help Donald Trump try to steal the next upcoming election. ICE is now making arrests using Social Security information and Medicaid information that he took. All it took was $270 million to buy the election, and then Donald Trump puts his monkey ass in charge of completely destroying the government. And also, just a little icing on the cake, now Grok, the one that said it was Mecha Hitler and is now propagating animated child porn and undressing people unbeknownst to them on their fucking site, that Grok now has a private military contract with the Department of War. Man, great stuff. Great stuff. This is fantastic. Let's switch gears here. You guys remember Donald Trump losing his shit at Davos a couple of weeks ago. And he went out there and gave this speech and he says, I'm not going to use the military to take over Greenland. Well, the reason why he did that is because the EU threatened to sell off a whole shitload of U.S. Treasury bonds. And Donald Trump, if you remember in the little speech that he gave, he says, we've already lost so much money on this deal. That was the money he was talking about. It wasn't just the EU threatening to do it. A Danish pension fund did start dumping a whole bunch of those treasury bonds. And that was their recourse. And hey, you're threatening to take over our territory? Okay, we're just going to collapse your dollar. And the EU just kind of jumped on board and said, okay, we'll join you on that shit. That was the threat. And that's what stopped Donald Trump from doing that. We need Greenland for national security. Come on, just give it to me. Why can't I have Greenland? Just give it to me. Come on. By the way, the Greenland thing, I'm not saying it's off the books, but they've kind of put that aside. And now Donald Trump is moving on to greener pastures, like attacking Iran. Wait for that. It'll be coming any day now. I wouldn't be surprised if he does it tonight. Seriously, he could do it tonight and then we wake up tomorrow morning and find this shit out. I never got a chance to talk about this, but Mark Carney, the leader of Canada, while he was at Davos, he basically read the United States obituary on stage in a 15-minute statement where he said, okay, the world order has now changed and it's just time to move on. Now, I'm not giving this guy high praise because in the speech, he basically said, yeah, we've been going along with this because it's been kind of successful for us to just let the United States be the world hegemonic power on the planet. But now that it's turning on us, we're going to back out. And that's why he did that trade deal with China. So I'm not giving Mark Carney a whole shitload of credit, but he is not wrong in his statement saying that the world order has changed. Donald Trump has made it so. He has accelerated the project in handing over world domination to China. You know that old Chinese tactic, do nothing, win? That's what's happening right now. And here's the thing. Honestly, I don't know, but is Trump trying to crash the dollar? Because you remember back with Liberation Day, he kept throwing in tariffs and then taking them off. And then him and a lot of his buddies are making investments and making money from the turmoil in the stock market. How do we know? I mean, seriously, how do we know that he's not actively trying to tank the dollar? I mean, he's been making money hand over fist with cryptocurrency. How do we know that he is not trying to ruin the dollar and then rake it in with crypto or maybe gold? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the head of Switzerland showed up in the Oval Office and just brought him a big bar of gold. I mean, the fucking emoluments clause, you're not supposed to make any goddamn money as president. Donald Trump is just receiving gifts left and right on television, right out in public. For God's sakes, MAGA, are you not watching this guy? I don't really care about what he says. I just care about what he does. Well, I'm telling you about stuff that he's actively doing, and you don't seem to care about that shit either. Jesus Christ, man. The United States is going to be Donald Trump's 7th bankruptcy. He's ruined 6 other businesses, and the United States is going to be number 7. And speaking of gold, apparently Germany is taking $100 million worth of gold out of U.S. banks. The dollar is soon to be no longer the world currency. I don't know if it's going to be crypto or gold, but it looks like so many countries, including a lot of our allies, are starting to hedge their bets. And if that happens, oh my God, Great Depression, hold my beer. The likes of which we've never seen before, but all of my friends are going to get rich as hell. Here is a nice bit of good news in the midst of all this bad. Zohran Mamdani, our fresh-faced new mayor here in New York City, secured $1 billion for childcare. The man is on the ball. He's out there fucking with a snow shovel after the big storm. He's cracking down on deadbeat landlords who are not fixing their buildings. And he secured $1 billion worth of childcare, man. The guy is on the ball. A friend of mine told me that he was getting on a bus recently and he did not have a Metro card on him, or he did not charge his card. And he asked the bus driver, he's like, hey man, can I use my credit card on this? And the guy's like, forget about it. Buses are going to be free anytime now. So just go ahead, hop in the back. I'll get you there. Pretty cool. Let me see here. An investigation shows that apparently Dan Bongino and Kash Patel were working on a Twitter strategy around the time of Charlie Kirk's death. They were trying to figure out, hey man, what should you tweet? Okay, you tweet that out and then I'll tweet this out. The Pod Bros FBI. This is what you get, man, when you hire people who have absolutely no experience and no fucking business doing a job like that. For God's sakes, Kash Patel's claim to fame is he wrote a goddamn children's book with a cartoon version of Donald Trump, the king, and Hillary Queenton was the evil queen. That's the guy that's running our FBI. It would be a lot more funny if it wasn't so fucking real, you know? Nick Fuentes is in a bit of hot water. He was on camera defending Jeffrey Epstein, calling him based, and he's going along with the whole classification of, well, you're only a pedo if the child is under the age of 10 years old. If they're older, then they're different classifications. Get the fuck out of here, man. You are a nasty motherfucker. And besides, aren't you gay? And then there was this video that leaked out of him and Sneeko, Andrew Tate, and this dumbass guy that punches himself in the face called Clavicular. They were all in this limo on the way to a club singing that goddamn Kanye song, Heil Hitler, motherfucker, or whatever the hell it's called. And they're having a good old time. They get to the club. They ask the DJ to play the song, and then they're trying to sing it in the club. I can't believe the DJ actually played the motherfucker. What the hell is wrong with you? And there was a little scene where one of the guys, I think it was Andrew Tate, leans over to Nick Fuentes and says, hey, I'm going to get you one of these hot girls over here. And he goes, no, thank you. I'm good. Okay. Like I said, aren't you gay? A new report comes out that Jared Kushner, Tony Blair, and Witkoff, all of the guys that are on this new board of peace, they had all been funded by Saudi Arabia to help make the Abraham Accords happen. And they were using a lot of money from private equity. These are just the best people, I gotta say. They're the best people. Oh, yeah, and I wanted to mention this other thing because I mentioned Letnick earlier. While he was at Davos, he berated a whole bunch of Europeans. He goes, you don't make any batteries. So you're going to have to buy them off of the Chinese. You're going to be beholden to the Chinese. Why don't you buy our oil and be beholden to us? Yeah, man, great. Using old antiquated technology when the new shit is battery, wind, geothermal, solar energy, who, by the way, is being pioneered by China. Yet again, China does nothing, wins. And then Trump, while he's giving his speech at Davos, he said something to the effect of, all of these Europeans, they're buying all of these ugly, ugly windmills. You know how I hate them. Call me Don Quixote. But I noticed that nobody in Europe ever makes them. The only country that makes them is China. But China doesn't have any wind factories. They don't do any windmills out there. I've looked, I've not seen them. China quite literally has the largest wind farm on the planet. They outdo us by like 5-1 in wind energy production. Just because you don't see something right in front of your face with your lack of object permanence, dipshit Don, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, man. Jesus Christ. But we're making America great again. You're going to be so tired of winning, folks. I was talking about the Board of Peace a minute ago. Vladimir Putin and Netanyahu both told Donald Trump to go fuck himself. If you don't know what this Board of Peace thing is, first of all, it's absolutely ridiculous and it's not going to get off the ground. Hopefully it's not going to get off the ground, but it is Donald Trump's idea of replacing the United Nations. He wants to gather together a collection of leaders from other countries to join this quote unquote board of peace. Like I said, it's being run by fucking Jared Kushner, another failed real estate asshat, and a whole bunch of other nefarious characters. But the crazy thing is that Donald Trump is going to be the chairman. This is his idea, and then he gets out there and he goes, I invited all these people, and all of them have said that they want me to be the chairman. It wasn't even my idea. And if you want to join this board of peace, you are to pay Donald Trump, not the U.S. government, Donald Trump, $1 billion. But his two favorite people, Putin and Netanyahu, told him to go fuck himself, man. So, like I said, I don't think it's going to get off the ground, but just the idea of Donald Trump trying to replace the United Nations. Lord. We got a new report from Ken Klippenstein. If you guys are not subscribed to his Substack, I suggest you do. He is a actual, real reporter, on the ground, talking to people, making phone calls, reporter shit, not talking head shit like this. He released this new article about the surveillance state that is being built as we speak. And Sparta, Reaper, and Grapevine, those are data collection companies, are tracking protesters and their friends and family. CNN also released info confirming this. And it's all about this National Security Presidential Memorandum 7, the NSPM 7. And apparently the idea for this grew out of Charlie Kirk's death. To Trump and the Republican Party, this was their 9/11. As if 9/11 wasn't 9/11 enough. But you got counterterrorism head Sebastian Gorka. That's right, folks. That guy is in Trump's cabinet. And he put together this idea with Stephen Miller to get this shit done. According to these guys, they all think that all the protests that you go to and all the signs that you make at home before you go to the protest, you're all getting paid by George Soros. You've got some outside funding mechanism, and they're all paying you to go to these. I mean, projection, right? Every accusation is a confession. These guys would never go out and protest unless they were getting paid for it. But they don't take into account that people are passionate and they want to go out and protest the ills of America, like Donald Trump. Those people are all paid. I mean, look at their signs. They look like they're professionally done. Well, I mean, some people are artful that way. My drummer goes out to protest all the time, and he makes a sign every single time. And it's really cool and creative because he's an artist and he's cool and creative. Just because you Republicans can't create jack or shit doesn't mean that there aren't people out there who have that creative gene and can actually do something. And nobody is doing this because they're getting paid to do it. When I go to a protest, I'm not getting a check from Soros. But they are using this NSPM 7 to go after funding mechanisms. And they're going after Antifa as a terrorist organization, which is the craziest thing of all time. Antifa is not a group of people. Antifa stands for anti-fascist. So if you are anti-fascist like me, then you are Antifa. We're not an organization that needs to be arrested. But Donald Trump, we gotta lock him up, folks. Lock him up. And they have been really surprised about what's going on in Minnesota. They're saying that it is nefarious that PTA moms are out there on signal chats organizing the protests that are going around in their neighborhood. They're like, why would these people do it unless they're getting paid for it? There must be some kind of organization behind it. You're talking about moms and teachers and nurses and people that actually do coordination all the time. I mean, do you think that a protest just pops up on Fifth Avenue without any coordination? Of course it's coordinated. You pick the day, you tell everybody involved, and then it goes down the line. And then people show up for the protest. That's how protest works. Maybe it doesn't work that way in the Republican Party. Maybe everybody does get a check for that shit. But on the Democratic side, we don't do that. A new poll just came out. 79% of Americans are in favor of immigration. Only 17% are opposed to it. Just 1 year ago, back in 2024, it was 54% in favor of immigration and 40% against. Just 1 year of watching Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, and these Gestapo goons has juiced that percentage to 79%. Nearly 8 in 10 Americans are saying that immigration is good for America. Honestly, it should be 100%. Of course it's good for America. Give me your poor, your tired, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Every last one of you who are complaining about Somali people or Latino people, every last one of you motherfuckers are a come here. You ain't a born here. You're a goddamn come here. Unless you're a Native American, you are from elsewhere and you are also a descendant of an immigrant. You cannot cross the bridge and then burn it down behind you. That's not how this country is supposed to work. Anyway, 79%, that's not bad. Honestly, it should be 100%. Okay, so here's one for you. This is crazy. Donald Trump signs an executive order. We are having a national emergency over Cuba. This is Donald Trump's new ballywick here. Everything is a national emergency, whether it's the tariffs or it's Venezuela or it's Iran or now Cuba. It's a national emergency. That's the way he thinks he can get around the rules and regulations and declaring war. It's just a national emergency. Right now, Cuba, who had been in the past getting their oil from Venezuela, they were buying oil from Venezuela, they have like less than 2 weeks worth of oil left. People are going to be starving, man. The trade embargo on Cuba has reached a level that it's never been. And Donald Trump wants them to fucking starve to death or overthrow their own government so he can put a puppet dictator in there, because that's what America always seems to do. And of course, Rubio is right on board with that. Cuban expat Marco Rubio, who has never met a regime change that he didn't like. And he definitely wants that shit in Cuba. By the way, just a side note, when he did a testimony recently on the Senate House floor, a lot of people were saying that he was gacked up on something. They were saying he was taking some pills. And if I'm not mistaken, it was a few weeks ago, he kind of gave this presser where he looked like he was high on cocaine, man. I'm not saying anything. I'm just kind of saying something over here, you know? But Rubio definitely wants the overthrow of the Cuban government so they can put a puppet dictator in there. And Trump also said that anybody who sells oil to Cuba will get more tariffs and get sanctions put on them. So I think that's a shot at Mexico, because I believe Mexico also sells a little bit of oil to Cuba. And of course, you know, Donald Trump has been talking about shooting missiles into Mexico. And Scheinbaum's like, yo, man, don't do that shit. International law. You know, do you want to continue trading with us? Do you still want your fruits and vegetables? Can't grow them in America anymore. You sure you want to fuck with us with this? But Donald Trump, man, you know, he wants the American technate. He wants the Don Road Doctrine. He wants the entire Western Hemisphere to call his own, to set up his fucking legacy. Man, your legacy is absolute dog shit. And if America survives despite of you, we will be fucking lucky. You will go down in the history books as the worst president that the United States ever had. Speaking of Trump's passion for world domination, he also has moved a naval armada from the Caribbean Ocean or the Caribbean Sea to Iran. A couple of weeks ago, he was talking about bombing Iran again, and then Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, they all tried to talk him out of it, and apparently that worked. But honestly, I don't think that it was them begging him not to do it that stopped him. His naval fleet was in Venezuela a few weeks ago, but now he's got them all moved over to Iran, which should be your first sign indicator that he is going to be doing some more bombing. I think it was Marco Rubio who said that Trump wants to do a preemptive strike against Iran because they are afraid that Iran is going to attack the military troops that we just put into Iran. I mean, I know we say we bandy about the phrase, this is so Orwellian, but I mean, this is literally out of the book, man. You're sending troops in and saying that we're going to strike you because we think that you're going to shoot at the troops that we just used to invade your fucking country. What in the actual fuck? That is just absolute crazy talk. Honestly, it's just more war and more distraction. From the Epstein files, from the economy, from the ICE goons that are invading our country. Don't look over here. Just look at the wins I'm doing on the world stage. Invading countries, stealing their presidents, and bombing nuclear sites. I'm making America great again by doing 27 new wars. Speaking of Rubio, he did testify at a Senate committee, and he literally admits in the testimony that they're stealing Venezuelan oil and selling it, and Trump and company are skimming off the top. I mean, the reports have been out that Donald Trump sold like $2 billion worth of Venezuelan oil for about $500 million. So, art of the deal, not very good art or deal. And he took that money and stuck it in a Qatari bank. And he's the only one that has access to it. Now, that was the reporting. Here's Marco Rubio literally saying this shit. I mean, this is mafioso type stuff. Stealing from somebody, selling it on the black market, paying them off, and then taking the rest of it and then putting it in a bank in a foreign country. I would say, how is this not against the law? But of course it's against the law. But there's nobody to stop him. You think Mike Johnson's going to do anything about this? You think Chuck Schumer's going to do anything about this? Jesus Christ, man. There's just no more rules anymore. They're none. They're all gone. In that same round of questioning, Rand Paul asked Marco Rubio, if another country did a targeted attack on the U.S. and kidnapped Donald Trump, is that an act of war? And Rubio said, it isn't constitutionally the definition of an act of war. Of course, Rand Paul was like, of course it's an act of war. If China literally came in, did a targeted attack on Washington, carpet bombed the place, and stole the president, do you think that anybody in America would not call that an act of war? I mean, Marco Rubio, I don't know what the fuck you were smoking or snorting, but I'd like some of that shit. And people consider Marco Rubio the one with the sanity. He's the calm one. That motherfucker is a war hawk. He makes Lindsey Graham look like a pussy. Then again, Lindsey Graham already makes himself like a pussy. Whatever. In an interview recently, Donald Trump says that we want to keep home prices up. We're not going to destroy the value of people's homes for people who didn't work very hard. I mean, you're just saying the quiet part out loud, man. Everybody is complaining about how high home prices are and how nobody can afford the American dream anymore. And Donald Trump is just coming right up out of his face hole talking about, nope, we're going to keep them high. You people who can't afford homes, you just didn't work hard enough. I know that the cost of homes have doubled, tripled, quadrupled in some cases, but you guys are just lazy. And never mind the fact that I was born with a silver spoon directly up my ass and my dad gave me $500 million. Hey, I worked for it. I begged my daddy and he gave it to me. God, man, he does not give two shits about you. And meanwhile, you got J.D. Vance out there talking about, well, the reason why home prices are so high is because of all those damn immigrants. Get the fuck out of here. You guy liner wearing doughboy, you. God damn. If you want to fix the housing problem, you just build more houses. And stop letting the goddamn private equity like Blackstone and BlackRock buy up all of the single family starter homes, which they have been doing for the last decade. I've been ringing that bell for a while, but nobody's been paying attention. Or nobody who will do anything about it has been paying attention. Sure as shit, not fucking Donald Trump. Repeal the Fair Cloth Amendment and start building some goddamn public housing. We've got 850,000 homeless people in this country. About 70,000 of them are homeless veterans. What, we can't get a veteran a home? Even a little small starter home? This is the empire in decline, y'all. The Israeli newspaper Haaretz just released a report saying that the IDF is now accepting the Gaza Health Ministry's number of deaths of 70,000 people. I remember a couple of years ago, they're like, oh, you can't trust the Gaza Health Ministry. They inflate their numbers. Meanwhile, they've never inflated their numbers. And they're so meticulous about their counting. The reason why it's 70,000 is that these are the proven deaths, meaning they have that person, that body, and they count that body. They don't count limbs, because that's not a whole person, so they can't count them. They're not counting all the people who are buried under rubble, who Jared Kushner is bragging about bulldozing over so they can build their new Tex bro billionaire city of the fucking future. They're not counting that, and they're not counting the people in the mass graves and all the people who are missing. So 70,000, maybe a multiple of 10. Try 500, 600, 700,000 dead bodies. But that's the reason why the IDF is now accepting that number of 70,000, because they know the number is so much higher. And speaking of that douche canoe, Jared Kushner, the Board of Peace wants to build a prison work camp in Gaza. And they want to use all of those prisoners to be, I guess, indentured servants for the elites when they do build this elite city. They're not going to build a fucking elite city. The plans, the pictures that they had, the plans that they have already out there, it's just some fucking flight of fancy. It is not going to get done. But they are doing an ethnic cleansing and a genocide, and they do want to turn the Gaza Strip into a resort area for the mega wealthy so they can sit out there on the beach eating bonbons and drinking mojitos with Netanyahu. Oh my God, man. Apparently, Trump has been having private meetings with Alberta separatists. I don't know if you know Alberta. It is a province in Canada, and they are very oil rich. And there are a handful of all hat, no cattle wannabe Texans that live in Alberta who want to make Alberta great again. And they love them some Donald Trump. So he's been having meetings with them, trying to get them to separate so they can become the 51st state. What do you say to this shit, man? It's mind-boggling. What's crazy, though, is it kind of reminds me of what Russia did with Ukraine. They're like, oh, we're not invading that country. Those people in the Donbass, they want us to take them over because they're all Russian citizens and they want to be Russians again. You know, let's make Russia great again. That's why we're invading, because there's a whole bunch of Ukrainian Nazis who are running the Donbass, and we're just trying to rescue those people. And here's Donald Trump basically saying the same thing. Oh my God, there's a whole bunch of Albertans who are desperate for us to come and rescue them from the communism of Canada. Mark Carney, the Republican banker, he's really a secret communist, and he will not let Alberta be great again. It does sound very familiar, doesn't it? And all of this is because Mark Carney did his little speech in Davos. Donald Trump is still butthurt about that shit. I don't even like Mark Carney that much. Seriously. I don't think that he's that great of a guy. I think he used to work for Goldman Sachs or something like that. He's a big banker money guy, man. Of course I'm not going to like that dude. But he wasn't wrong when he said that Donald Trump is killing the world order and handing all the power over to China. And that it's time for all of us and Europe to move on from us because we are not to be trusted. And he's not wrong about that. Okay, switching gears here. I had been planning on doing this story on the SAVE Act. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the SAVE Act is a new voter suppression law. They were talking about having voter ID, and it looks really bad. Well, there is this new one that's just been put out by House Republicans called the Make Elections Great Again Act. Because of course, man, pander much. But this one is basically looking at the SAVE Act and going, oh yeah, hold my beer. They want to mandate voter roll purges. They want every state to re-verify someone's citizenship every 30 days. I mean, this is an impossible task, and they want it to be impossible so they can invalidate elections. That is the whole point behind this. Make the rules so impossible that you can't keep them. That way Donald Trump can say, well, we need to federalize elections. We're going to have to seize the voting machines. They want to ban all mail-in voting. And of course, they want everybody to have voter ID. By the way, if you are a hunter, they will accept your hunting permit as an identification. But if you had a Medicare card with your name on it, they won't accept that. They also want to get rid of all ballot drop boxes. They basically want to make it as difficult for you to vote as possible. Paul Weyrich, back in the 70s, he got up on stage and he said a lot of crazy ass shit. But one of the things that he said was, the less people vote, the better chance it is for Republicans to win. So they don't want democracy. Their argument is less democracy. Their argument is the only people who should be allowed to vote are rich, wealthy landowners, like it was right around the Revolutionary War. And if you are not a landowner, then you should not be trusted with the right to vote. Even though that is what our democracy is literally based on: one man, one vote. There's no arguing logic about this. They are going on the Paul Weyrich model. The less people vote, the better chance for Republicans. So getting rid of drop boxes, getting rid of all mail-in voting, voter ID, shrinking down the amount of polling places in urban areas. These are all tactics that Republicans use to curtail Democratic voting. And I'm talking small d Democrat. All of the liberal, leftist, black, brown, lesbian, gay, women voters, they all live in the urban areas, and we'll make it much harder for them to vote. So they're doing it, y'all. They're doing it. This is the year. They are going to try to steal this election before it actually happens. The only thing that Donald Trump fucked up in the 2020 election is that he didn't do this beforehand. The way you steal an election is you steal it before the election happens. You set laws in place that make it impossible to vote. You purge voter rolls. You kick people off. They go in and vote, and their vote doesn't even fucking count because their name had been expunged from the voter rolls. Donald Trump tried to steal the 2020 election after the election. That was his faux pas. He's not making that mistake this time. He's doing everything in his power to make sure that he can steal this fucking election. And that is some scary stuff. We should all be seriously concerned for it. Oh, and just a little side note to add to that. Y'all remember the Dominion voting system? The one that sued Fox News for like $780 million, nearly $1 billion that they settled for. Well, Dominion ended up selling, and it was bought up by a Trump mega donor. I talked about this a few months ago, and I said it was kind of a big deal. But with the recent news about the Fulton County election board getting raided by the FBI, there's a correlation between those two. That company, which is based in Missouri, not Georgia, the head guy, the Trump mega donor, he filed an affidavit over quote unquote tampering charges, and he did it in a federal court. So when he did that, a federal judge ordered that raid in Fulton County, Georgia. And by the way, just a side note, since it's been done in a federal court, if ever there is a perjury charge for lying about this, which is obviously this is a lie, then Donald Trump can just pardon that guy. So what I'm saying here, what I'm speculating is that this guy, this mega donor that bought Dominion voting systems, it was the plan from the very beginning. He bought Dominion voting systems just so he could do this whole tampering lawsuit. I know that this sounds very in the weeds, but this is how they are planning on stealing this election. They're going to use goons like that mega donor to set up lawsuits in federal courts just so Donald Trump can open cases and have FBI raids in a whole bunch of blue cities. Fulton County is Atlanta, Georgia. Very blue district. It's one of the reasons why Georgia went blue back in the 2020 election. In 2021, they passed a whole bunch of new voter laws in Georgia because of Donald Trump's bitching and moaning over the 2020 election. And now it's on steroids. Mark my words, in a couple of days, Tulsi Gabbard's going to come out and says, oh, I found those 11,780 votes that Donald Trump was talking about. Oh, they're right here in this box. Mark my words. That shit is coming, y'all. Switching gears again. Okay, so the Melania movie. I mean, it is such grift. This whole goddamn thing is all about the grift. I remember when the trailer for it came out, and it came out, I think it was back in December, and I was going to do a story on it, but I thought it was too much of a fluff piece, and I didn't really give a shit about it. I kind of just saw it for what it was. It was just a payoff to Melania and Donald Trump. And apparently there were some bidders involved in making the movie, and Jeff Bezos, he outbid MGM by like 3 times the amount that they were going to pay for this documentary, whatever. But the budget ballooned up to $75 million. And out of that $75 million, $28 million went directly into Melania's pocket. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Robert Downey Jr. got like $20 million for his last Avengers movie. She gets $28 million for a bullshit docudrama that she executive produced. I mean, I've never seen an autobiographical documentary before. And the first private screening of this was held in the White House. I don't know where in the White House it was, because the movie theater used to be in the East Wing that Donald Trump recently demolished. So they must have done it somewhere else. You hold up this white billboard and we'll shine the projection right onto it. Don't move. Hey, he's wobbling it. Anyway, the first private screening was attended by Jeff Bezos, Tim Cook of Apple, or as Donald Trump calls him, Tim Apple, and Mike Tyson, and then there was also a royal princess or somebody who attended. And here's the kicker, y'all. It was directed by Brett Ratner of Me Too fame, and also in the Epstein files. There's pictures of him in the Epstein files. Brett Ratner, a scumbag of a dude who has not worked for ages. And it kind of fits. I mean, if you are a sexual assaulter and you want to feel comfortable in your own skin, just hang out with a whole bunch of other sexual assaulters. Works out great. So Melania not only starred in her documentary, but she also executive produced it, and she made $28 million for it. Even though I avoided doing the story back when I thought it was just a bit of graft, now it is just a bit of graft right in front of God and everybody. They recently had the premiere a couple of days ago, and all of the muckety mucks from the right wing, including, closeted gay Mike Johnson and leather bag Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and a whole bunch of right-wing bootlicking sycophants, they all showed up to watch this. Apparently, they're only estimating to make about $5 million. So Jeff Bezos spent $75 million on this documentary and is projected to only make about $5 million. Honestly, I wonder how that $5 million is going to work out. I have absolutely no interest in watching this movie. The only thing I'm interested in is getting some pictures of the inside of the theater with like 12 people watching this movie. But then again, who knows? There might be a whole bunch of morons out there who are willing to throw $20 at watching this AI generated Melania flick where she bitches and complains about, how come no one gives me any credit? Who gives a fuck about Christmas? Hey, Melania, did you watch that I won? No, Donald, I did not watch it. I will catch it on the news later. Okay, bye-bye. I need to go find some shoes. Jesus Christ, man. This one's kind of sad, man. There is an anti-trans bill that is getting fast-tracked in the state of Kansas, and it will allow bounty hunters to patrol private business bathrooms and make arrests of people that they suspect of being transgender. I mean, are you going to do a genital check? Is that what we're doing? We're here now, right? I mean, The Republican MO is blame a small group with no fucking power for all of America's problems and ignore the real criminals, the real corruption. It's the billionaire class. It's the tech bro elites. It's the mega oil donors and the mega MAGA donors. All of those guys that Donald Trump is pardoning over and over again after they buy $1 million worth of his crypto coin or something, or his son's making bank off of their crypto scam, or Melania making bank off of her crypto scam and her meme coin and Donald Trump's fucking meme coin. For God's sakes, the corruption is right in your face, just like the elite pedophile cabal that QAnon had been screaming about from the fucking rafters. It's right in front of your face. Those rich assholes are the perpetrators. The wealthy are only as moral as their options. And since they're wealthy, they have all of the options in the world to do all of the worst nefarious shit. And you guys are refusing to look at it because Donald Trump says that it is Latinos and the Mexicans and the Guatemalans and the trans people. They're the reason why your life sucks. Not because of the grocery prices, not because you don't get paid anything, not because you have to work 2 jobs just to make ends meet. Not any of that. It's not us. It's them. It's the trans folk. It's the brown people. It's the Somalians. That's why your life sucks. Not because of me. Not because I'm robbing you blind. Not because I'm keeping housing prices up. Not because inflation is going through the roof. Not any of those reasons. Your life doesn't suck because of that. It sucks because of the browns. It sucks because women want their rights. It sucks because the trans people are going in your bathroom and molesting your daughters. Get the fuck out of here. When are you guys going to learn? I mean, you saw it. You witnessed it. You saw the inauguration. You saw the richest people in the country were the only people in attendance. The senators and the congressmen were even in the back rows. And all of the MAGA people who would follow Donald Trump into the gates of fucking hell, they were all outside in the cold. He's like, it's too cold outside. I'm sorry. Thanks for your support, but I got your votes now. Go home. You never need to vote again. I'm just going to hang inside this big old rotunda with all of my rich friends while Elon Musk does Sig Heils and Mark Zuckerberg looks at Jeff Bezos's wife's new set of tits. Anyway, that's all I got for today. And honestly, there is so much more that I didn't even get a chance to get to, but I will be doing videos on them soon enough. Have no doubt, have no fear. Rantoinette is here. Anyway, thanks so much for sticking around. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. You have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.